I'd like to reopen the November 14th, 2022 Board of Trustees meeting of the Village of Bronxville and ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And seeing all of you here tonight, first of all, thank you for coming out. And I'm making the supposition that you might want to be here for our public hearing about the local law possibly lowering the speed limit in the village to 25 from 30. So in the interest of your time, we're going to dispense with the items beforehand and let this be the first item of the night. Before I reopen, is this a reopen, council? I think I'll take a motion first to reopen the public hearing on local law 5-2022 to amend chapter 290-14A 6 regarding the setting of speed limits on village streets and public roadways. Do I have a motion to open the hearing, reopen the hearing? And a second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, just a quick background. What happened prior to this year, no village could have, in the state of New York, could have a speed limit lower than 30, except school zones and special circumstances. And you had to prove special circumstances, sadly, by accident data and things like that. So we could never, many of you have asked over the years, why is the speed limit 30? And that was because that was the lowest the state of New York allowed. Our assembly woman, Amy Pollan, brought forward the legislation, and it passed this year. Many years it has failed, and Assemblywoman Pollan was part of the team, and it gave by local option a community can lower their speed limits to 25. And so and we also have to have, which just so you know, background, as part of the law, they added that we have to have a traffic engineer certify that our streets can take 25 miles an hour. Is that correct, Mr. Palmer? It was sort of an add-on. So we have to employ a traffic engineer just to kind of get a imprimatur on this. But this public hearing is frankly just what it is. We want to hear what the residents of the village think about this proposal, because it would require a law change in the village. So this is an opportunity for anyone and everyone to just go to the podium, and if you don't mind just sharing your name and address and giving us your thoughts on this public hearing.
And did you want to try to limit any of those comments, Mayor, then to our usual time limit? Or?
Well, I think most people know we try to keep it at 3 minutes,
yep.
if you can. Okay, who would like to start with any thoughts on this proposal to drop the village-wide speed limit from 30 to 25? Of course, the school zones will stay 20. Correct, Chief?
Oh, and
Yeah.
White Plains Road, which is a state road, will stay at 30 because it's not in the village, technically.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Emily Johnston. I know a lot of you guys. I'm at 43 Woodland. I'm a member of the Safe Streets Advocacy Group. We're a group of people across the village who try to really understand where the walkability pain points are so that we can help advocate for focusing our efforts to help the village and the town and Jim Palmer, we talk all the time, on what matters to the people here. So that we can focus, because there's so much that can be done. It's really understanding what should be done. And we've participated in multiple walkability studies, and we champion really every initiative that helps improve the walkability of Bronxville, including the most recent implementation of the crosswalk on 22. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know when I say I'm not exaggerating, it's been like years of work, and I think that I just love that we have such a fantastic leadership team here, like Mayor Marvin and Jim Palmer, who have just absolutely bent over backwards to help us make that happen. So thank you. And it matters because Bronxville is a walking town. We recently did a Safe Streets survey where more than 300 residents in Bronxville took it, and 92% of people say they walk every week, half people say they walk daily, 85% of parents say that students in the school system, parents who have students in the school system, they walk or bike to get to school, right? And also, I think we benefit, our home values benefit from walkability. I mean, there's lots of studies on this, but one specifically said that homes in the most walkable neighborhoods increased a value of 160% more than homes in car-dependent neighborhoods. So yay, because I think that we have a really great walkable place to live. Bronxville culture is synonymous with walkability, yet we also know that 70% of children who are hurt or killed by cars are hit within blocks of their own home. And the median distance for pedestrian injuries, is 1.1 miles away from their home, which is telling for a town that is 1 square mile. In fact, 208 people from our survey reported a close call with a car. 22 people said they'd been hit by a car. And on May 6, Karen Elliott Rizzo was killed at the crosswalk on the corner of Pondfield and Midland, the same crosswalk that many of you use to be here right now. This is why I'm here today, to advocate that we decrease the speed limit by 5 miles per hour, which sounds like silly, like what's 5 miles an hour? It matters. It matters because decreasing the miles per hour from 30 miles to 25 miles per hour, it improves the stopping distance by 23%. That's 45 feet. That's 45 feet to give you an opportunity to get out of the way. That's 45 feet for a car to come to a complete stop. And pedestrians that are struck by a car are half as likely to die. That could have meant the difference for Karen. As an active member of this community and a mother of 4 sons in the Bronxville school system and RCNS, I feel strongly that we must reduce the speed limit to 25 miles per hour. But it's not just me. 273 people, or 90% of the respondents in our survey, supported this. That's representative of more than 1,000 residents in Bronxville. These are long-standing residents. In fact, 35% of them have lived here more than a decade. They're across all ages. 25% are more than 55 years old. You know who you are. And they're evenly distributed throughout our 7 districts. Look, I'm so grateful to live in a village that recognizes and invests in the values of its community. I'm so happy to see every new stripe, every improved sidewalk or new crosswalk. It really does make me so happy, and I see it happen every day. And I also know that Bronxville is a village that values the safety of every single resident over the speed of its vehicles, which is why, for the 80 millionth time, I'll say 25 miles per hour, I think, is the best move for our town, where we are right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, come right up. Good evening.
My name is Lorraine Izzo. I live at 38 Parkway Road. And I'm here this evening because I'm delighted that Bill A1007A was passed, and believe that Bronxville should take advantage of this bill and amend the speed limit to 25 miles per hour. This speed limit should be enacted on all village streets, of course, but in particular, living on Parkway Road for close to 20 years now has been very problematic regarding the speed of cars and trucks. I moved to this village with my late ex-husband, and we purchased our home close to 20 years ago. And I moved here because it's a wonderful village. I have always felt safe, but I don't even feel safe crossing the road walking my dog. I have witnessed cars going at least 50 miles an hour, cars at Paxton and the cross of Parkway going through the stop sign. Approximately a month and a half ago, I was almost hit by a car with my dog, and the driver was visiting somebody on Parkway Road. It was really scary, and I'm here to say that you don't want one of these children, and there are numerous children. My son is 20 now, so I'm not so concerned about him, but I am concerned, of course, with, not only myself and my family, but the other families on Parkway Road. I think it's very important that not only the miles per hour be amended to 25, but that there should also be 2 of those monitors that blink when someone is going over 25 miles per hour, because it is very scary to live there. And again, I don't want to be afraid to cross the street or even be hit by a car that jumps a sidewalk when I'm on my side of the street. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah? Vandy?
My name is Vandy Walker. We live at 12 Meadow Avenue. We've been in the village since 1976. We raised our children for 20 years on Sunny Brae. My feeling is not to lower the speed limit, but rather to enforce the existing ones. The side streets, you are hard-pressed with all the stop signs to go over 30. On the hill, I think it's physically impossible to drive over 30. I understand Midland, Pondfield, Parkway, and even Woodland, probably speed limits could go, people go over the speed limit. But if we enforce the speed limit, talk to the crossing guards. Midland Avenue, if you simply ticket people, you will get the achieved result of people slowing down. Our parking tickets are legendary in the area, and if we make speeding tickets legendary in the area, we'll get the same results. And I don't think it is worth the expense to just put down 25-mile-an-hour signs. I would rather see the speeding limit left at 30 and the community enforce it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vandy, the cost for the signs, just for your references, for the village, around $4,000 to re-sign. Yep.
Okay, anyone else want, yes?
Hi, Claire Ludvigson. I live at 21 Willow. I'm Mayor. I cannot ditto enough the comment about enforcing. I live on Willow and Midland. I'm at the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit for the school.
Right.
Please don't think I'm crazy. My son is a baseball player, so I have a radar gun for his pitching. But I have taken it out on the streets, and I've caught, 60, 65. The enforcement is not happening. And so I do agree 25, but if we are just going to put signs up and there's no enforcement, then what's the point? Right by the school, certainly all over the town. It's 1 square mile. It's a walkable town. It's beautiful. We love it here. But if we don't enforce it, these trucks, these cars are just going to keep doing it. And quite a few of them cut right through. I see at least once a day a car transporter. We do not have in the village of Bronxville a car shop. They cut through because they know they can, and they're the repeat offenders. So enforcement is critical to any sort of adjustment to the speed limit.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Hyde. I have lived in Bronxville at 5 Edgehill Close for 5 years and in Bronxville for 7 years. My 3 kids walk to school every day. We cross Midland, which is a street that has repeat offenders speeding. I absolutely support the enforcement point. And in general, I support making Bronxville more walkable. I am thrilled that the crosswalk is under construction on 22. I applaud everyone who worked so hard to get that done. I am highly in favor of reducing the speed limit to 25 miles per hour. I grew up in a town where that was the speed limit, and I was shocked when I moved to Bronxville, and it wasn't the same here, particularly given how many narrow and windy roads there are. You can't, to Vanity's point, even go 30 miles an hour. I firmly believe making the streets safer for walkers also accrues to the benefit of drivers. When someone is hit by a car, it not only changes their life, but it also impacts the driver's life. It is devastating for both. So if we can enact reasonable changes to make Bronxville safer, I fully support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Hi, my name is Amy Howard. I live at 155 White Plains Road. I really appreciate you hearing us out on this tonight. I appreciate everything that you have done. I've noticed the police officers have worked very hard to enforce the speed limit by the school, and I really do appreciate that. I have a first grader and a third grader. My third grader is allowed to walk to and from school on his own now, and he is capable of that, and I do not feel comfortable as a parent allowing him to do that because of the cars in town. We walk to school together in the morning, and I am constantly waving at cars and telling them to slow down, whether it is a landscaper, whether it is a construction worker coming in to, it's not necessarily locals in town that are speeding, but it is other people coming through our town. And I've worked too hard to make two wonderful children that I don't feel safe. And that is hard to say in a town like this. So I fully support changing the speed limit to 25 miles per hour. I feel safe walking them on White Plains Road, and turning down to Woodland is just terrifying. As a driver myself, there are blind spots all over the place, and I think it's unsafe to even go down that road going 30 miles per hour. So anyway, I appreciate all that you're doing. Thank you for listening to us, and have a nice night.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Niamh Hartnett-Merluccio. I live in Midland Gardens, and I've been a resident here for about the last 24 years in Bronxville. And obviously the reason a lot of us live here is the walkability, and you know, we can completely survive without a car, right? We only have one car and we're doing great. My concern is for Craft Avenue. Obviously we have a number of children and people over a certain age in Midland Gardens. And I have to tell my kids, do not cross, you know, on Craft Avenue by the crosswalk there until the cars come to a complete stop. So we have flashing lights there, but the cars don't stop at the flashing lights. And so you cannot cross until most of the time, there's no cars coming. Unfortunately, during the day, the flashing lights are not bright enough. At night, they are brighter. Obviously, so I do support the reduction to 25 miles per hour across the board. And I think we've all seen since about 2015, 2016, how much the traffic has increased in Bronxville. And I think a lot of that has to do with these, you know, the Waze apps. When the cross-county is backed up or the Hutch, they all seem to then drive through Bronxville. And on many evenings, and even when I'm coming from work, how backed up it is, you know, coming down on Route 22 and on Midland. So I also encourage more, whether it's maybe not speed bumps, but something. We need to slow down the traffic in certain areas more. We know that a lot of them are not going to abide by, whether it's the 25-mile-an-hour rule or 30. You know, we have to make sure that it's reinforced. So I think we need more traffic calming objects in place. I think they've done a very good job of it. I know that in Europe, even in my small little village in Ireland, there's traffic calming, where there's pedestrian crossing, the cars have to slow down because it's so narrow. I think that we've done a great job here so far, but I think we can do more, and bringing in consultants to tell us, you know, where it's money well spent. How can we slow down this traffic more? Most of the traffic coming through here are not going to stop in Bronxville and spend money. They're just getting to their next destination. And for those of us who live here, we want to know that we can get to our destination, safely. And most of us walk. So whatever you can do, we would just encourage our speed limit to be reduced to 25 miles an hour and take a good look at every crosswalk in the village to see how we can even go further to making sure that the drivers are aware that they have to slow down there, and whatever we can do for reinforcement would be great. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Ching, and I live at 22 Greenfield. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing to reduce our mileage per hour and to add crosswalks in our town. I have 4 really young kids. I have the ages 1 to 8. And we walk to school pretty much every day. And just like Amy, I have a 3rd grader who's ready to walk on her own. And while I feel completely confident that Dakota can walk on her own, she's a very responsible young child, I do not trust the cars. And so from going to Greenfield, and we have to cut over to Woodland, there's lots of hedges, there's lots of blind spots. There have been so many near misses with my children where I'm pulling them up, and I feel like every time I'm walking down the hill, I'm just yelling, "Stay in the grass, stay in the grass." I literally yell at them on the way to school, which is not a great way to start the day for our children. So I really appreciate all you are doing to help curb the speed limit, to help make drivers more responsible in our town so that we can protect our children. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you? I'm Jackie Titolo. I could be one of the most recent residences here. We just bought the house on the corner of Woodland and Tanglewild. We moved here from Manhattan, and I feel less safe walking on the street here than I do there, which is a little scary. I have 2 little girls. It's my only hesitation about living here. I love my house, I love the community, but it scares me a lot. It's been my only hesitation about potentially going back to Manhattan because I visualize a ball rolling in the street. I visualize crazy things, and it scares me. Excuse me. I told someone that I was worried about it, and I think it was someone in town, and they said, well, just have people park in the street, and then they'll slow the cars down. It didn't really seem like a logical solution to me. So I really do support that, and I would love to stay here, and I'd love to stay in that beautiful house. I just really want to make it safe for my kids.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Gallagher. I live at 40 Oriole Avenue. I've lived here for about 4 years. I also have 3 young children. Just want to, again, thank you all, everything we've done so far to make progress towards safer streets. I just want to reiterate my support for lowering the speed limit. I think anyone who's, 30 miles an hour may not seem that fast, but anyone who's walking with a young child on a scooter or a bike and a car drives by you at 30 miles an hour, it is fast and it is scary. And I think I agree the enforcement point is so important, and we're not going to make any progress without enforcement. But I don't know about, I know in my neighborhood, I agree the traffic is greater of trucks and outsiders, but in my neighborhood, I also find it's locals. I see neighbors, and particularly young drivers, who are picking up their friends in our neighborhood who are flying down our street. And if I have the same visualizations, if a ball rolls out of my driveway and my 4-year-old runs out to get it, and a teenager in a Jeep is flying down the street, it would be over for him. So I think the combination of a lower speed limit and enforcement, let's make Bronxville known for a place that you have to drive slow or you're going to get a ticket, and then maybe people won't drive through our neighborhood so fast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kiri Wolf. I live at 4 Manor Road. We are dealing with a few different issues up there. We have a lot of the pass-through traffic to get from 22 over to miss that light that's on the corner of White Plains Road of 22. So I think we're getting a lot of local traffic as well as just the pass-through traffic, and people are driving extraordinarily fast and cutting through all of those stop signs. So our children can't go out and play in the street. It's like if you drive through there ever, it's a very young neighborhood, but you would never know it because it's very dangerous to be in the streets. There's hedges, there's blind spots, and a few years ago, stop signs were put in, but the kids can't be outside. In terms of walking to school, we are occasional walkers when the school was open during coronavirus. We walked quite often. I have 3 children, now second, third, and a high schooler. I won't even let my high schooler walk to school alone because we've had so many near misses crossing over White Plains Road with cars crossing over the double line when cars stop to allow pedestrians to cross the street. So I hope that this crosswalk goes in so that we can cross safely without having that happen, because I've seen that happen on White Plains Road multiple times, and I've seen it happen at the school. So that is an enforcement issue that I think also needs to be watched for. So thank you so much for listening to us tonight, and thank you for making this happen totally for the 25 miles an hour.
Hello, everyone. First of all, we have seats over by us if you guys want to sit down. I am Ann Jenks, as you are all well aware. I live at 25 Ridgecroft Road. It is on the other side of 22. I have 2 children. I have a second grader and a pre-kindergarten. I echo everyone's sentiments so far. Enforcement, 25 mile an hour speed limit, I'm in big favor of. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. I know each and every one of you have worked for years tirelessly on the Crosswalk Initiative, on Safe Streets, on lending your ear, and I appreciate it. It isn't easy. And I think the issue that we're dealing with is complicated, and it's hard, and there's trade-offs. I just want you to know that from our family, we care very passionately about it, and appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Lauren Krause. I live at 20 Parkway Road, the 0.1 mile marker, to be exact, between Midland and Parkway and Paxton. The reason 0.1 miles matters to me is because a car can reach peak speeds at the midpoint between a raceway. From my front office, I watch cars go anywhere between 50 and 60 miles an hour. I bought a speed gun as well, and my husband told me that emits radiation, so I stopped using it. But I can assure you that this happens all day long. What I'm holding in my hand is a letter of support from the Parkway Road residents. Over the course of the last 2 days, I collected, with my little girls, 45 family signatures on Parkway Road, 51 individuals, and I want to thank each and every one of you from Parkway Road and everywhere in the village for coming tonight, because this is so very important to all of us, and resounding support to reduce the speed limit. And I just want to speak on behalf of my kids. I don't know if other kids have this problem. My kids are absolutely clueless, completely lack any self-awareness when they're walking. They think Belgian blocks are balance beams. They think curbs are balance beams. And I share in the sentiments of being very, very nervous to allow the kids to walk to school. I'm not confident that they would have the foresight and the ability to see the peripheral vision that a car was coming. And just to talk about a recent event that happened, 3 weeks ago I was at a wedding, and my mom texted me and said, people speed like crazy on Parkway Road. 1 hour later, she said a woman got hit, sideswiped. She was legally parked in front of my house. Someone crossed the double line, swiped her whole car. When I came home, I saw broken glass and busted up elements of her car, and they left. A year before I closed on my house, the owner told me someone came into my yard, almost the entire car, and another one of my Wonder Alex was, yes. So anyway, just some recent examples. We would love to control this, and all of the reasons we're all here and love Bronxville, please keep it that way. It'd be wonderful if you could support us. And I'm big into business cases. I'm trying to think of a reason to advocate for 30 miles per hour anywhere, and I'm coming short on finding those reasons. So thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Would you mind perhaps leaving us your signatures? Yeah, you have them.
I have one. Printed it out. Yep, I got it.
Perfect.
Good
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you. I also agree that we should have 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. There's two things. My name is Alexandra Carpatios. I live at 32 Parkway, right next to Lauren. And it's funny that Lauren mentioned the distance between Midland and her house is 0.1. I run, and I've calculated, because the last quarter of a mile is painful, that the distance from Midland all the way to the first stop sign on Parkway is about a quarter of a mile. So from 8 Parkway Road to 62 Parkway Road, it's a free-for-all. And I'm just going to say it like that. So what happens is, people turn off of Midland, and if they're not turning onto the Bronx River, they do not slow down. They gun it, and they go. And they come down because they don't see any houses yet. There's, the path is there, the highway is there, so they hit the gas. By the time they get to a house close to Lawrence, it's been a tenth of a mile, they've already kicked up a lot of speed. So by the time they get to the middle of Parkway, they're going pretty fast, and for my kid who does run into the middle of the street, it's going to be extremely hard for them to slam on the brakes and not hit him. I am advocating, obviously, for 25 miles an hour. I'm also advocating for a study of that area because it is extremely dangerous the way people take off from Midland and come down Parkway. There are no speed bumps. I do recognize that you guys put up the blinking speed thing down by the stop sign. It was awesome. People really are slowing down at the stop sign over there. But like I said, it's a very long stretch, and it's a free-for-all. The other thing I want to say is I, myself, as a 9-year-old, was hit by a car. And it was a street very similar to Parkway, a very long stretch. The woman was looking down at her radio because she didn't have a cell phone in 1992. But she didn't see me, but what she was doing was she was going around the speed limit. She had not hit 30 miles an hour yet. She was somewhere, they said, between 27 and 28 miles an hour. Although I incurred some major injuries, I was in the hospital for 3 months. As you can see, I'm standing, I'm fine. I'm great. I was told multiple times by doctors and by my lawyers that had she been going over 30, I wouldn't be here. And that's a really big deal. And so 25 miles an hour. Let's do it.
Hi, good evening. I'm Faraj Bader. I live at 87 Parkway Road. I have a 2-year-old boy and a 10-year-old dog. And I just wanted to say, I used to work at the Department of Transportation in Washington, D.C., and saw grant applications from villages like Bronxville all across the country that wanted to make their streets safer for the people who live there, kids, elderly residents who wanted to get to shopping. And Emily's presentation gave me flashbacks because that statistic about lowering the speed limit from 30 to 25 miles an hour, saving approximately 50% of the lives for people who are struck by cars, is something that towns and villages all across the country that are seeking transportation funding cite. That's a statistic that I think should be in all of your minds tonight, because if the speed limit is 30 miles an hour and there's a collision, and it could have been 25, and it results in the death of a resident of the village, that's a lost opportunity, and that's a tragedy for the town. So I just want to say I'm totally in support of a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit across the entire village. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. Sarah Kenny. I live on Edgewood. I've got 4 kids, ages 17 down to 10. I did move here in 2011 when my oldest was 5. I love Edgewood as far as there's no through traffic, and that's wonderful. The downside is I do have to drive my kids to school every day. Like Kiri, I will not allow my kids to walk to school unless they have to. I'm fully supportive of 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. The enforcement, thank you to all that you've done around the school since we've moved here. The safety of our school and around the school, the perimeter of the school, has increased 100-fold, and you feel a ton safer driving in the around the school perimeter with our children, walking in and out to lunch and whatnot. The only couple points I wanted to make is that I do have a teenage driver, and I think these teenage drivers at 30 miles an hour going around these blind curves at night, some streets are not well lit, is an accident waiting to happen. I think people who don't live in this town, also an accident waiting to happen. And then the flip side is all our kids do walk late at night coming in and out, and they do go home, and if people are driving, and unfortunately, you have to think about people who are coming from restaurants and whatnot, may have had a cocktail or two. It's petrifying that these kids walk in bunches late at night with a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. So with all that said, thank you for all you do. I know it's very tricky. I know you spend a lot of time at this, but I'm in agreement about 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Emery. I just moved into 3 Beechwood Road at the end of the summer, and I have 3 children, 7, 5, and 2. And our concern is that we walk to school down Masterton Road every day, and because we have a 2-year-old in a stroller, we cannot walk on the sidewalk because it's not safe. There's a stair that you cannot pass with a stroller, as you all know. So we are in the street with the stroller every day, multiple times up and down the hill, and I just think we would all feel a lot safer if the speed limit was 25 instead of 30 coming down that hill going around the corner. So thank you for doing this, and we hope that it gets approved.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi there. I'm Angus O'Friel. I live at 2 Normandy Road, and I think it's best just to say that kids my age are also going to start driving on the roads themselves. And I think with a lower speed limit, it would just be more safer for kids just to have a spot to drive themselves. And also kids during lunchtime, at lunch, also go into town. And I've witnessed on the way back just kids getting honked at or just people honking at each other because they're either going too fast or they just don't know what to do at a turn. And I've also witnessed after school, when kids are going home and things, I've witnessed a car crash in front of the post office from, I don't know, reckless driving, but I think someone might have gone too fast around a turn and crashed into another parked car. So I think with the lower, no one was hurt. No one was hurt, thankfully, but I just think it might have been speeding, possibly. And I've been out late at night, people speed right by, like red lights do anything. And so I just think for kids my age, it would be way better for us who are driving and those who are not would just appreciate a lower speeder limit. Thank you.
Thank you. You know what? Thank you for taking the time to give your perspective. I really appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you.
Since Emily designated me the old guy in the room, I guess I have to speak. I think safe streets are not only, not only a children's issue, it's a seniors issue. Although 3.3 times as many seniors, proportionate, die in fatal car crashes than those under 65. So it's an issue. We're slower, our reflexes are slower, we don't see as well, we don't hear as well, so we're at risk when we cross streets. One issue that came up is, and I think enforcement is a real issue, but we got to give our police chief some more money so we can hire more police. And it's not here, but we have to look at what Judge McInnes told me is the way we share moving violations revenue with the state. It's outrageous. We need that money for ourselves, and I think we need to push on that. I also have a modest, by the way, thank you for all the crosswalk signs in front of the hospital around the traffic circle there.
Yeah.
It really is working. I guess you see it on your way home.
Yeah.
It's a delight to see. And now if you want somebody to go, they won't go because you're in the crosswalk. So it's made major improvement. I was doing something I do once a week, and I was heading to Costco in New Rochelle. And I got off the hutch, and there was all sorts of traffic. And now I'm going down Boston Road, and I come to Pelhamdale, and I get a light. And I figure, okay, when the light changes, then I'll go. The light changes, and I don't go. And all of a sudden, I see people walking diagonally across the street. Everybody had a red light. And I think that intersection is very much like Midland and Pondfield in terms of traffic volume, in terms of movement. And the interesting thing, it didn't really slow down traffic because when the light turned green, nobody was making right turns anymore because they had already crossed. So it didn't slow the traffic turning. So I hope maybe you could talk to your colleagues in Pelham, Chief, and see if it's made a difference and if it's working. It's a modest proposal. I think we do have to do enforcement of speed limits, and my wife said if I don't sit down in 3 minutes, I'm in trouble. Thank you all.
No, to your point, I think people would find it, I found it stunningly fascinating, to your point that the moving violations in New York State, the vehicle and traffic code, I think on a $175 ticket, the village keeps about $10.
That's high.
That's high. It might be less than. So people, the way New York State, to your point, has constructed the revenue all goes, and not that we shouldn't enforce, heaven's sakes, but it actually, when you get $10 a ticket, it's actually a loss to the village when you think of gas, cars, police time. This system isn't fair. And I think people are always stunned because they're always saying to me, Mayor, it's a massive money opportunity in the village, and it's actually not at all. It's very interesting the way New York State chooses to divide up their money. Correct, Chief?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not to say we don't enforce.
No, right.
If you look at the report I posted today, we have 1,298 tickets so far this year. 10 months, it's about 130 a month. We do enforce, and that's short-staffed by 3 officers. So the officers are out there enforcing all different vehicle and traffic law violations on a daily basis and nightly.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you because it sort of was stunning to find out that that's how the system works in New York. But yes, sorry.
No, that's great. I'm Lindsay Witten-Christ, and I live at 119 White Plains Road. We moved here a little bit sight unseen during the pandemic, mostly for the walkability. I lived here as a child, was born in Lawrence Hospital, lived here till I was 5, and we knew that Bronxville was a walkable town. And so we moved here, and we're so happy about every aspect of it except how dangerous it feels to be walking, which, as I said, was the real selling point. And I can list 28 other selling points right now, but I would not say feeling safe walking is one of them. And we walk all the time. My husband runs in the dark in the morning, and then he walks to the train in the dark. And then our first grade boys and I walk to school every day. And I love Ashley's description of yelling at the kids the whole way, because I really do feel like I'm constantly like, get on the lawn, get on the lawn. And they're, walking then on people's lawns, but that's the only option. And by the time we've gotten to school, I've probably shouted at them 100 times, but otherwise they would have been smushed 10 times. So we do that, and then I walk to the train, and we're just always on the streets and constantly feeling like one of us is about to be hit by a car. So I'm in great support of the 25-mile-hour change. Also, any other changes that are being discussed. I think that there's a lot of changes that probably need to happen. I'm having a baby on Wednesday, and so I am also going to be on the stroller on Masterton Curve for the next few years, and I see a lot of my new recent friends doing that, and my heart is like in my throat as we're on the walkway and I'm watching them walk around that curve. And we also recently had a new babysitter, and I was teaching her how to drive around town and just sitting in the passenger seat as she was driving to make sure I felt comfortable with it. And at one point she drove like 29 miles per hour, I think, and I instinctively thought that she was going 60. It felt so unsafe, and I think we were on Elm Rock, and I looked at this and I was like, well, technically you're okay because you're under 30, but never drive this fast. Never drive over 23, probably lower than that. So I was shocked that she was not breaking the law when she was going 29 miles an hour. So thank you. We're really grateful, and obviously there's a huge amount of interest and support for everything you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. And congratulations to you. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Danielle Rasamny, and I live on 7 Paddington Circle across 22.
And I just wanted to express my gratitude for all of your hard work and my support of the reduction of the speed limit to 25 miles an hour, as well as all the Safe Street initiatives. I have 4 children, 7, 5, 3, and 1. I will be pushing a stroller to school for a while. I do every day we can walk to school now. We moved to town for the walkability, among other reasons, and I'm also yelling at my children the whole way, and my heart is racing. So I will say as well, the crosswalk on 22 that's being put in is absolutely life-changing, and I'm beyond grateful for that, because we'll now be able to cross more safely instead of waiting sometimes 5 minutes to even get across the street. So thank you again, and we really, really appreciate all of your time and attention to this.
Thank you. Yes.
Hello, and I just wanted to say happy birthday to Mary Behrens. So she's here on her birthday, which I just think is so wonderful. Good evening. My name is Ruth Walter, and I reside at 1 Normandy Road. I'm a resident, a merchant in town, a member of the Safe Streets Group, and a member of the Green Committee. I'm also a former Westchester County legislator, and I'm speaking in favor of this legislation this evening for a few reasons. We have seen great improvements in our village infrastructure over the past few years, from the upgraded crossing at Midland and Elm Rock to the upgraded Pondfield and Midland intersection. And as an aside, I urge you to continue to improve that intersection with walk signals and turn signals. And I love David's idea of the 4-way stop. I think they have that in San Francisco as well, and it's fantastic. I commend this board for their work to make the promise of walkability a continuing reality here in the village. We want young families to walk their students to school, just as we want seniors to remain living safely and enjoying the benefits of walking to town, to church, or to the library. This summer, a Mount Vernon resident, Karen Russo, was struck and killed at the intersection just outside Village Hall. And it just speaks to how drivers have come to feel that pedestrians, even in the crosswalk, are in their way. And I'm sure everyone here has had that experience, being in a crosswalk and having a car either come so close or actually beep at you, like move out of the way. That happened to me recently. So share the road is an important concept, and I love the idea that Bronxville will be a leader in this. I thank Jim Palmer, Trustee Behrens, Trustee Fredericks, Trustee Knapp, the mayor, and all the great community members who have conducted surveys of village residents, walked the roadways with planning consultants, and listened to studies on traffic and traffic calming measures. Chief Satriali and his officers are keeping us safe with their patrols and their ticketing of bad behavior. I also want to thank Amy Paulin, our great assembly member, who introduced this legislation permitting 25-mile-per-hour speed limits in villages in New York State. And as I said, Bronxville will be a leader, and I know other villages will follow suit. Finally, I want to say that preserving the village is the goal. Our beautiful village, where so many of us have or are raising our families, we want Bronxville to stay walkable, and at this moment, with truck traffic increasing, this moment calls for speed reduction measures like we have before you tonight. I urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? You all made great cases. Thank you all for coming tonight. And I'm just so glad we left this hearing open, and the fact you took the time to come and give us your thoughts. And the only reason we cannot act on it tonight is we have to wait for this traffic engineer to kind of give us a stamp, a seal of approval before we can actually do anything. So I think, council, shouldn't I keep the hearing open until just so if anybody else wants to email us or call or?
You can adjourn the public hearing to your next meeting if you want.
Okay, so I think that makes the most sense, just in case somebody else has a thought between now and when we hear from our traffic engineer.
Do we have any time frame for when we?
Jim, do you know when we'll get our information from the engineer?
Setting up a time with him, no, I don't know.
No.
Other
Okay.
than he's going to start doing his review, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
Mayor,
So any push you can do would be appreciated. Yes, Mary?
Mayor, I might just add that the trustees have received a lot of input as well, just emails, people that couldn't come tonight. In my case, mostly in favor, in fact, all in favor, and other trustees have received, and the mayor and Jim have received a lot of
Yes.
email traffic regarding this topic, so we're taking that into account as well. Thank you.
Yeah, but we appreciate you coming out, because we know it's, it's hard to take Monday night to come down, but this is what makes this place so special. So thank each and every one of you. And as soon as we're allowed to make a decision, we will.
And Mayor, just to reiterate or follow up on what Trustee Barron said, if people want to send further emails or comments, pro or con, of course, rather than show up at our next meeting, we read those emails and letters as much as if people were here, just to let people who may be watching on TV, or you may know someone who feels strongly but can't make the next meeting, send an email. I mean, we read our email.
Perfect.
So Mayor, you can, when you're ready, you can just take a motion and a second and a vote.
To leave it open.
To adjourn the public hearing to your next meeting.
Okay, yes. All right, council, I don't know what I'd do without you. I need this help. All right, I need a motion to just adjourn this public hearing until our December, what date in our December 12th meeting. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Can I just make the point on this? When we get the study back, and as we're deciding whether to vote yes or no, I do think we need to spend some time in discussing what the actual rollout plan is going to be, and the implementation, and the education, and, the enforcement piece, and is there going to be like a holiday of enforcement? Those kind of things, I think, need to be part of our final decision-making, too.
You have to file a law with the state, it's going to be 30 days, you got to change all the signage.
Yeah.
You got to order the sign.
Just timeline and those things.
Well, and finding out whether, Tuckahoe or Eastchester or anyone else adjacent is planning on doing it, because there would be a certain logic to start doing it when other people are, if that's practicable. It may not be, but...
My understanding, and it's just from colleagues, so it might not be, but that Scarsdale and White Plains are just about there in doing this. Okay.
They are not doing it.
Tuckahoe's not, and I heard Scarsdale and White Plains are in the same rhythm as we are on this.
Very careful with our signage.
Yeah.
Entry point to the village, and then every 200 feet.
So they had a public hearing and they closed it
I
in
don't know
Tuckahoe?
if they even schedule a public hearing.
Yeah, I don't think they...
I don't think they had a public, I think they made it unilaterally. I'm not sure they had public formal public hearing. Yeah, that's what I think. But you're right, it has to be rolled out. If it's done, it's got to be done very correctly. Well, good point. All right, we're going to go back to, I'm going to have a really fast mayor's report because...
You want to continue with those public hearings? I'm sorry, or no? Or I guess you're going to...
All right, for the rhythm, Jim, you're right. So let's, I need a motion to open a public hearing to amend the Vehicle and Traffic Law, Chapter 290, on stop intersections.
Mayor, I'm wondering if you'd like, you could open the public hearing on all of those together.
Oh, I would like that and have one.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah. Bob is a stickler for all those separate public hearings, Bob, I'm sorry tonight. We're going to do them together.
You could just take a motion to open the public hearing on all of the laws that are listed under item...
Local law number 6, 7, and 8.
Local law 6, 7, and 8. Do I have a motion to open? All right, and a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, and Jim Palmer, do you want to quickly, I know there's 2 stop signs and a yield sign that we're
Two
adding.
stop sign at Beechwood at the cross street of Studio Lane, and then also Sussex at Argyle.
Okay, and those are the stop sign, and then the yield sign?
One yield
Ridge and Governors,
intersection
correct?
on Ridge at Governors, And then the other housekeeping item is establishing a no parking zone on Midland Avenue on the east side between Avon and the village line. There's been problems with vehicles parking there and some sightline challenges. So again, east side of Midland Avenue from Avon to the village line with Tuckahoe.
Okay.
Do the neighbors all know?
Yeah. Do we, Chief, you've signed off on these, correct? Yes, so that's the most important, and, okay, okay. I think what happened was, I think it's similar we used to have before, commuters parked there, and then they walked to the train. And it's just, there's sightline issues there, isn't that? That's what I thought. Okay. So these have been all vetted by the police department. The neighbors, I know, are in accord with these signs. So I think trustees, barring, do you want to, may we vote on them?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to ask for comment.
Oh,
and then
right.
we'll
Does
close the
anyone
hearing.
want to talk about stop, and yield? No? Yeah, yeah. Wait. We got 4 votes already. Yeah.
Since we're doing this on omnibus fashion, is this to approve the new stop sign on Beechwood that has already been installed? That's sort of coming up Beechwood?
They've been there for a while, I'm not sure.
We're not sure that,
There's a new one. You're right. There is a new one right at the top of Beechwood, right before you get to Studio Lane. It's on the right.
Yeah, so Jim, is that to approve one that's already gone in, or is this
It
an
might just
additional?
that it wasn't codified in the code, so we're, yep.
yes, I think you're right. That one wasn't we had to codify it for the
Yeah,
code.
although I just note for the record, this may be more of a DPW question, you really don't see it coming up the hill. Maybe I only just noticed it because there's a lot of shrubbery.
There
and
is,
so you
that's-
may need to,
Stephen and I have been working on that corner. Yeah.
You know,
There's a lot of shrubbery right there.
there's the point a lot of people made tonight, which we really have to, there's a lot of obstruction by bushes and on signs. We have to really look at, because I've noticed a lot of our signs are buried in trees.
We're
and-
working on it. We've been in touch with the owners, the landscapers, and they trim back, but it's not enough. But that's definitely one of those tight areas.
If there was foliage obstructing a village stop sign,
We can trim it.
we can trim it, I would think.
Yes, and the DPW
So why don't we
was.
just go,
Yeah.
forget, I mean, we should.
That's probably done, it's just that, yes, but that intersection, the hedges are still well out into the, so I think the stop sign is clear, but,
Yeah,
anyway.
just something that was so clear that so many people mentioned, hedges and obstructions, that I thought we've got to sort of redouble our efforts on that, I think. All right.
If you're ready to go ahead, I recommend you begin by closing the public hearings.
All right, do I have a motion to close these 3 public hearings? And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And then do I have to vote on them separately?
You can do it either way. If you feel there's going to be a consensus of the same, that there's going to be a positive vote on all, you can do it together as an omnibus motion. If you want to see if somebody wants to make that motion on all 3 to adopt
I'd like to make a motion that we approve all 3.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I'll move it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
We had Mary was the
I'm
second.
sorry, I missed it. Okay.
Mary,
Oh,
yeah.
second.
Okay.
Yes,
I
yeah.
missed it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, you're all set then.
Can
All
I ask a quick question while we're on the stop sign issue, especially on that Beechwood and Studio Lane? There's no stop sign from Oriole going onto Orchard Place. Did you look at that one? Because I always stop there when I'm on Oriole, moving, turning right or left onto Orchard, but there's no actual stop sign there.
You don't have to stop. You're on Oriole making a left onto Orchard or the right?
Either way, I'm on Oriole, and I can go right down, onto Orchard to go onto Beechwood, or
There's no duty to stop there on Oriole.
wouldn't, and you don't think there should be one?
I'm not going to stop sign
I see that. I stop naturally by myself, but I can't, but you don't, it makes me nervous that I don't have to. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 0 accident data there. it is the through street. The intersecting street does have a stop sign. You have to be very careful on where you put stop signs because they end up causing.
No, but the Oreo doesn't have, like, wouldn't you think that Oreo would need to have one? Because it's the intersecting one.
Oriole or Orchard? I'm confused by your.
Oreo on to Orchard. It's a T.
But the chief's saying Oriole's the street.
Oriole's the through street, Orchard is the intersecting street.
Well, Oreo dead ends to Orchard Place. Not dead ends, but it hits it. Okay.
Why don't we take, maybe
All right.
discuss that?
The good news is that at that intersection, there are no bushes for about 75 feet
That's
at
very
any
true.
point from that
I
intersection.
concur with that.
So we don't need to send
there-
Steve out with
Yep.
his pruning shears up
Yeah.
Oriole and Orchard.
There
He
are
does
bushes
keep them
there.
in the car. No?
Yeah.
There is a hedge right there.
There's a little bush.
Jack of all trades. Right?
All right, we're going to go, I told you I'm going to have a really quick mayor's report because we have items A through J tonight. Just quickly, just want to congratulate all the people who represent us, got reelected. So we will be continuing work with Senator Mayer, Assemblywoman Paulin, and Congressman Bowman. And I also want to mention Wednesday night, Gramerton Village is having a really big lecture at 7 p.m. at the Bronxville School Auditorium. And it's on Alzheimer's and dementia and how you can see the signs, help your family, and they're bringing a world-class expert, and the school graciously offered the auditorium to Gramerton Village. Also, people were glad to see our flags went back up on the corner. We all agreed that they would go up near special holidays that recognize Memorial Day, 4th of July, and this was for Veterans Day. And I think we all agreed that putting them up around special times gave them more gravitas than just leaving them on the corners. So the veterans were really appreciative of seeing the flags out there. And I thank our DPW for doing the legwork on that.
How long will they be up?
We were keeping them up around 2 weeks around the holidays and then come down again. Just other news, we are almost, if you can believe it, the village is almost at 100% store occupancy, if not at 100%. We have 2 brand-new stores on Pondfield. I've gone in and talked to the owners. We have 3 brand-new stores on Craft. The movie theater is thriving, and the shopkeepers just asked, this is their make it or break it season right now because things get really quiet for them in July and August and sometimes the dead of February. So just asking people, think local, shop local, and we're just so fortunate that so many people have still take a chance on opening businesses in the village. And then finally, today, the chief and I, that's why he looks a little tired, we had 85 second graders come over today in a row. And believe it or not, they listened to me very politely about elections, and they can't wait to go to the jail cells. So they... I have to say, you're gonna get your turn because whenever he takes the first group, the rest feel like they got the loser. So, and these kids are extraordinary, is all I can say. They know every question I asked them. They knew who the first female governor was. They knew about term limits for the president. They knew why you have an odd number of people who make decisions, so there isn't a tie. There wasn't a single, somebody knew both New York senators, which was pretty impressive. So So these are second graders. So whatever they're doing at the school is amazing. And that is my report. So Village Administrator Palmer, anything else?
I'm going to pass for tonight.
Okay, yeah.
How exciting.
All right, then.
Only reason I showed up tonight.
And then I want trustees, any trustee have something in their particular area or announcement that I might have forgot. Mary?
Yes.
Trustee Behrens.
Thank you, Mayor. The mayor, Jim Palmer, and I have been working with Ashley Sharp, a village resident, regarding building a new playground in Maltby Park. By way of background, Maltby Park is 2.6 acres of grass next to the village paddle courts on Paxton. There is a desire in town for another playground to supplement the playground on Sagamore Park. As you know, during the school days, the preschool children only have Sagamore Park. They can't use the school. And the park at Sagamore's is on the small side, although it's a nice, beautiful little park, and the parking can be tight on Sagamore. So Ashley came to the village with an idea for a public-private partnership to design and erect a playground. The most obvious location was Maltby Park. In that vein, she created the Friends of Maltby Park. The idea is that the Friends of Maltby Park will design the playground, then fundraise to purchase and install the playground equipment. Once completed, the new playground will become the village's responsibility and the village will maintain it. The playground project idea has occurred in other Westchester municipalities, such as Larchmont, and where they've done it a few times. We will post the site plan once there is a good working draft on the village's website for everyone to review. And if anyone is interested in giving input on the project, feel free to reach out to either the mayor, Jim Palmer, or myself, and we will get you in touch with Ashley Sharp. She is going to be forming a committee and also a fundraising committee. We wanted to give everyone a heads up on this exciting new project, and we will do specific outreach for the residents at Parkway nearest to the park as we get closer and finalize our plans.
Perfect. And I think it's also important to note that we are putting in new equipment in Sagamore Park, that we know Sagamore Park's a little very much used and it's quite a little tired right now. And so we're going to buy, the village is going to purchase equipment. So the folks who use Sagamore Park, we're going to just try to have two nice parks. And I'm just really excited by this because you heard tonight, I was amazed at how many little people live in I mean, there were so many people saying 2 and 4 and it was great. So it was clear another nice place to play, and that's the ideal location. Yeah. So thank you for working with Ashley on this, Mary.
What's it going to cost, Mary? Any estimates at this point?
No estimates at this point, but she's working on that.
Yeah.
And
she's actually working with the
same person that we're working with for Sagamore Park.
And Larchmont used
and that Larchmont used.
Yeah, yeah. Is that my phone? Yeah, that's okay. Sorry, I left it there during the early meeting. Oh, it's a scam call from Uganda. Wow.
It was for Stephen.
That's pretty wild. Uganda.
I'd say you're live at the Village of Bronxville Trustees meeting.
Yeah.
Do you have a
I think
comment?
somebody in Uganda is watching, don't you? That must be it.
They support the park.
Yeah, they support the park. All righty, then let's go to new business. Mr. Palmer? Pardon? Oh, I need a motion to approve 3 sets of minutes, executive and work session, October 11th, regular meeting, October 11th, and the executive session we had on Halloween, October 31st. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Trustee Barron.
I just made a few minor nits that I had already given to Mary Ann.
Perfect.
Nothing-
Okay.
nothing's-
No material changes. Okay. All right, and we're on to polling locations, Mr. Palmer.
Yes, just that time of year, just announcing the village election polling places, which again will be the same as last year. Village Hall for District 16 and 17. For those that during the general election vote over at Iona. Then the Firehouse District, 18, 19, and 21, once again, right over here behind Village Hall, and then Christ Church for Districts 20 and 22. And again, this is for the village election day on Tuesday, March 21st, and as always, we'll put those out on our website, and if someone's not quite sure where they're supposed to vote, they can call Village Hall.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept our polling place designations?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mayor,
Motion
can I just
passes.
add one thing, that it was interesting to note that the village of Tuckahoe and Hastings just had a proposition on their ballot to move their village elections to November. I'm not advocating one way or the other, I'm just bringing it up as an interesting thought that of what our neighbors did, and it passed resoundingly in both villages. At Tuckahoe, it's unofficial, but it was 78%, and Hastings was 88%.
Okay.
So it might be something we want to look at. You know, traditionally, when I first came on board, you said that the state of New York has traditionally had their village elections in March.
Right.
It's been a tradition going back, but I think some villages are deciding that it's too cumbersome, and they're moving it to November.
Okay,
And
that's just good to know
Yeah.
that people are going, some people going in that
So I
direction.
just wanted to make people aware of that.
Okay, thank you. All righty, we get to authorize a winch purchase.
I know that sounds
That's exciting.
Using unassigned fund balance of $11,518 for this cabling that's attached to the rear of the sanitation vehicles to pick up the large dumpsters from the apartment complexes.
And we do need this, I
Yes.
don't mean to, we absolutely do, because they have those big dumpsters. So do I have a motion to accept the purchase of this? It's $11,518.40.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, next item is one SCAR settlement for the year 2002. 2002, I had those village refunds, I think were $739.56. And the address on that property should be-
25 Studio Lane.
Yes, yep, the spreadsheet's on the back.
Yep. And Mark is handling, he's just a great, Jerry was amazing, and Mark is doing an equally terrific job getting, really cleaning house of anything that was left. So I thank him. So do I have a motion to accept that one SCAR settlement?
Motion.
And a second?
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay.
Okay, next couple of items deal with the, I say some housekeeping items associated with some past approvals. The, if the board could authorize or approve the environmental compliance resolution for the Wood Lane Sewer Extension Project, which you approved at the last meeting. So this is in conjunction with adding this item to our bond sale. So it's the,
So it's what we approve for Wood End, we just
Yes.
have to add it as a bond.
right, this is, right, first,
Okay.
this is the environmental compliance resolution, just saying that there's no adverse environmental impacts.
Okay, that's an easy one. I'll move that one.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And then now we add that same project,
Right.
authorize a bond sale to get the project going.
Right, and this one I will do the actual roll call of the board, but yes, this is the actual, adding this item to the bond, to the future ban that we'll be issuing, and the life of this product is 40 years, as is established by bond counsel, and again, this was for $202,100. So do we have,
Thank you for remembering, we have to do individual votes on the bonds, correct?
yes.
I'll move
Yep,
for
so we have
approval with a
motions.
roll call vote.
Okay. Do you want to call the rolls?
Did we have a second on that? I'm sorry. Okay.
Mary?
Okay, so on the question, Deputy Mayor Underhill,
Yes.
Mayor Marvin,
Yes.
Trustee Knapp,
Yes.
Trustee Fredericks,
Aye.
and Trustee Barons.
Aye.
All righty. And then we'd have another situation of the same kind of combination,
Right,
correct?
and this one we started to discuss at the last meeting, I'm sorry, and I should have clarified this in my, my email over the weekend. So, this is for the purchase of a new sanitation vehicle for DPW. We discussed this at the last meeting. The treasurer and I and Stephen have been continuing to research grant opportunities and evaluate an electric vehicle versus a traditional diesel piece of equipment for sanitation. And at this point, what I'm requesting that the board simply approve adding $400,000 to the ban that we're just discussing while we continue to evaluate the most cost-effective option. For the purchase of an electric vehicle, it's an approximately $800,000. The treasurer was already terrific at finding a $200,000 grant that we would automatically be eligible for through New York State. So that takes us down to $600,000, but obviously there's still work to do. And part of
diesel?
the diesel would be less than half of that. Less than half of that. But the other cost here is that you do have to install. Well, you have to install the charging station in the DPW building, and that in and of itself is, if we go with the level 2 charger, it's still approximately $75,000. So that's a significant.
In addition.
Right. So, so this is
What's the life of one versus the other? I'm just curious.
The life of one versus the other. I think the big savings is the maintenance of the electric vehicle is a heck of a lot. So this is currently what we're evaluating. If you take those the savings maintenance out over a period of years, I don't know that there's much history on electric sanitation vehicles for their life. So I'm kind of dodging that one. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but
No,
what we
that's
do
true.
know is that the maintenance is a heck of a lot less. But so it's a little complicated. We are researching it.
What's the cost of the level 2 charger?
75,000.
Diesel, I mean, you're saving all that diesel fuel cost.
And the diesel savings, yes, over time, absolutely starts, you amortize that over a decade, it starts to be
Electricity
helpful.
bill also increases.
Yeah.
But
You have to offset that.
it's complicated. New York City just happened to get, they took the remaining grant that New York State was offering for, I think, 11 Mack trucks. But I know the city of White Plains is also closely looking at this. So again, given that we are time sensitive with issuance of a ban, I think it's best if the board approves $400,000, and then the treasurer and I will give you
And then you'll
report.
chip in 200,000? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, but again, and there are grants out there, maybe
Yeah.
perhaps with the bond act that was just passed, there might
Right.
be some
that's
monies
right.
there. So the worst case scenario is that it's still more cost effective perhaps go with diesel at this time than those monies, the other monies that you don't use, if the 400,000 would simply be applied to another piece of equipment at the DPW.
So we just need to get this in
We're
the
working on
bond.
it, yes. So if we could just have a motion to approve the environmental compliance for that.
Okay, I'll move that. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, so then we will do same thing for a roll call then for the 400,000 for adding that DPW equipment to.
And I
the
need a
ban.
motion first to approve putting that in the bond.
I'll move it.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
I have a point of parliamentary inquiry first, which is,
Yes.
Mr. Palmer, the charging station, I take it would also be available for use for possible future electric-powered vehicles of the village?
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
we would install that indoors, but yes, inside the DPW, but yes, we would make it available to other municipal vehicles, yeah. So,
Thanks.
okay, so let's see, for the roll call, trustee Barron's.
A.
Okay.
We
Trustee-
don't do this often, that's
Trustee-
clear.
That's better than here.
Yeah, better than.
Trustee Fredericks?
Aye.
Mayor Marvin?
Aye.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Underhill?
Yes.
And Trustee Knapp?
Yes.
Okay,
All righty.
excellent, excellent, okay.
And now we have another environmental compliance resolution, correct, for street paving?
Yes, and requesting some additional monies to put into the ban for street resurfacing. And this would principally be for, we are trying to schedule the repaving of Pond Field. We're currently have that scheduled now for upcoming Saturday. I think it's December 3rd. So if the weather can hold out, we'll repave this section of Pond Field. So that's what the additional monies are.
The lower section?
The section from down here at the intersection of Midland up to beyond Normandy. So we have clean services and now that these two intersections have been bumped out, so then we can do the striping.
Okay.
So if we could start with the environmental compliance resolution, once again, for that in association with the band.
Okay, I'll move that, and I need a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. And then the roll call for, what we explain it here as use of trips, issuance of debt, and street resurfacing. You can see that the treasurer broke that down. And again, she's just acknowledging that this year, once again, we received $230,000 through the Capital Highway Improvement Program, and then we'll be adding $150,000 to the BAM. Okay, so do we have a motion on that?
I'll move it. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay.
All right,
we
and we
did the,
already
adopted the
adopted.
local laws.
All right.
I think that's all I have, yeah.
Trustees, did we miss anything anybody wants to add that I maybe forgot along the way? No? Seeing our audience, this is a time for public comment, and we have some stalwarts out there. So thank you for staying for the whole meeting. It will be duly noted. Yeah, we appreciate you being here. And if you'd like to say anything, this is, no? We're okay. All righty, then I need a motion to adjourn until you tell me the date again in December.
December 12th.
December 12th. Do I have a motion to adjourn and meet everyone December 12th? I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes.